Control structures are one of the most fundamental concepts in any programming language you will come across. If you want to learn C# and if you want to learn to program with any language, you must have a firm grip of the control structure of the language. Generally speaking, if you learn them in one language, you pick them up in different languages very quickly. Control structure can be defined also as the act of repeating something. You can also consider a control structure as a conditional action, which is said to be one that is only performed if a certain condition is true or met. C# has two general types of control structure. We have the iterative or the iteration, which we normally call loops, or decision. Decision makings are the if structures, the if else structures, and the switch multiple selection structures. Like this diagram, if is this condition met? If the condition is met, yes, or if the condition is not met, perform this action. If the condition is met, perform this action, then execute the next code to run. That is decision making. Iteration control structures allows us to repeat code in a cycle fashion. There are four types of iteration control structures. We have the while repetition structure. We have the for repetition structure. We have the do while repetition structure, and one other one is for each repetition structure. For instance, if you want to count the number of students in a class, you don't need to write your code over and over again. You use this structure to control it instead of writing code over and over and over and over again. So C# provides three types of selection structure, which is the if selection structure, the if else selection structure, and the switch multiple selection structure. The if selection structure performs an action if a condition is true, or skips the action if the condition is false. The if else selection structure performs an action if a condition is true and perform a different action if a condition is false. And the switch multiple selection structures is just like a selection structure that you can use to perform one or many actions depending on the values of an expression. The if selection structure is called single selection structure because it selects or ignores a single action, whereas the if else structure is called double selection structure because it selects between two different actions, while the switch structure is called multiple selection structure because it selects among many different actions. C# also provides the four repetitive structures. We have the while, the do while, there's one do while, we have the while, we have the do while, and we also have four repetition structures and for each repetition structure. So in total, control structure has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 8 control structures. Before we continue to know more about keywords, keywords are predefined reserved identifier that have special meaning to the compiler. They cannot be used as identifier in your program unless they include @ as a prefix. For example, you cannot use as or bool or break or byte. For instance, if you want to declare your variables, you cannot start you cannot name your variable as bool except you put @ you call it @bool. So you cannot name it like as type because they have predefined meaning. If you name it as bool, C# compiler will treat it as boolean. If you name it as double, C# compiler will treat it as double. If you name it as int, it will treat it as int. So you cannot name it. They are predefined. They have their own predefined meaning. So anytime a compiler sees something like int, interface, log, they will try to interpret it to compile the code based on that, based on the keywords. We also have ones like params, private, protected, read-only, ref, return, side, sbytes, short, strings, struct, and lots more. So you need to memorize everything. Intelligence will tell you that you cannot use this as your variable or this, but right, I need to tell you so that you need to know that there are some keywords that you cannot use.